proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness?
All right, so that's an NBA player. His name's Jaden Ivey. He played for Detroit, got traded to the Bulls, puts out that Instagram message, the Bulls cut him. Conduct detrimental. Now, we talked about this yesterday. The NBA is all about truth to power, or at least we thought they were. I guess they're for truth to power when they match their moral compass and their version of what the world should be. But this is going to continue to gather steam. Christian athletes now speaking out in favor of Ivy. And again, if you have a league that lets players speak truth to power and they celebrate activism, are they really truly celebrating activism, or are they celebrating progressive liberalism? And how dare anybody have a real truth to power standing up to the league when it comes to forcing the players to participate in something that they just find that goes against the moral compass? It's an interesting question, and we'll talk more about that as the story continues to gain national recognition. And finally, story number 5. Today, yes, that's right, it is April 1st.
Number 5.
That's called having a conversation. So let's get back into this whole thing about DHS and Congress, because I've got an update for you. So when we were talking about this yesterday, the Democrats were taking a stand on principle. We're going to stop ICE at all costs, including stopping the funding of Homeland Security no matter what. If the people of the United States have to have their Homeland Security, their TSA agents go unpaid, and everything else under the sun that the Department of Homeland Security is supposed to protect us from, we're willing to risk that because fighting against ICE is that important to us. On the Republican side, not giving in to them is so important that we will let this government shutdown go on and we'll leave town and go on vacation. Now, I also saw a senator on the Democratic side said, people are saying we're going on spring break or vacation. We're not. We're going back to our districts and we're going to work hard. And that's where I want to pick it up. Because yesterday, as we were out feeding the TSA agents who hadn't been paid in 45 days, there were members of Congress going God knows where to God knows what. But now, actually, courtesy of TMZ, we do know where some of these Congress people were going. See, they said it was so important that they were going to shut down Homeland Security, that they're going to go back and they're going to talk to the people in their districts. Now, think about this. This is such an important issue for me that I'm going to allow TSA workers to go unpaid. I'm going to allow DHS to be unfunded, which means the Coast Guard, the TSA agents, ICE, Homeland Security, all these people are not going to get paid, not going to be funded. We're going to allow our Homeland Security lapse because this is such a big deal that we've got to fight over it. Now, let me ask you this. That kind of sounds like an emergency, right? So the last time I had an emergency, I didn't go to Las Vegas, nor did I go to Disney World. But that's exactly what we saw. And by the way, this is not just one-sided. I'm not just attacking one side. I'm pointing this out to both sides because we've got two people that have been in the forefront of this fight. And I want to point out where they were during their vacation. Again, TSA hadn't gotten paid. DHS isn't funded. Coast Guard's not funded. Cybersecurity's not funded. And by the way, yesterday Iran had a threat against businesses here in the United States that their cyber warriors were coming after many of our businesses. But again, DHS isn't funded because Congress says this is so important. We're going to have this government shutdown. Republicans won't give in. Democrats won't give in. So we just stopped funding this. So let me point out where some of our lawmakers were during this crisis that we have that we can't fund DHS. Lindsey Graham. Guess where Lindsey Graham was? TMZ has photos of him at Disney World, getting on rides, enjoying the park. Now, listen, I'm not going to begrudge anybody having a day off or taking a vacation. I always point this out. Like I personally am a workaholic. I am awful. I have no work-life balance. Dave's seen this already. I'm kind of a psychopath, right? Dave looks at me. All right, explain, Dave. Am I really that bad? Right. And I try not to bother Dave at night. Because, again, we get up at 3 in the morning to do the show. But, yesterday my day was I went to work, left early, went to TSA, or went out to Kitchen 33. Then we went to TSA at the airport. I came back, had lunch over at Kitchen 33, went home. I took like an hour and a half nap because I was exhausted. Then I got up, and then I worked on the show till about 7 o'clock. And then I ate dinner, worked the show a little bit more, went to bed about 10, and I was up at 3. So that's kind of my routine. And again, I am the worst person in the world when it comes to work-life balance. I have none. It's probably one of my biggest character flaws is I can't turn it off. But I try. So I'm never going to begrudge anybody for taking a day off. I'm just built a little different, maybe a little psychotic. I mean, before World War II, before D-Day, they made Ike take a vacation. He didn't want to, but they said, if you're going to go invade Europe, go get some rest so you're at your top of your game. And I don't do a very good job of that. So, again, I'm the last one to criticize that. But if it was so important that we had to shut down government, that during your break, instead of working on it, figuring ways, being at Disney World, just a bad look. And then there was Robert Garcia, the congressman from Southern California, I think is where he's from, California. He was spotted at a casino in Las Vegas, and it made headlines. And he said, well, I was there having lunch with my dad in Las Vegas. My dad lived there for a long time, so I stopped on my way home to have lunch with my dad. Okay, fair enough. Not going to begrudge that. I wish I could have lunch with my dad. My dad passed away, so I completely get it. Spend as much time with your dad as you can. But let me ask you this. When you were planning to fly to Las Vegas to have lunch with your dad, did you think about the TSA agent at the airport in D.C. that checked your bag to make sure that you were safe getting on the airline to fly? Check to make sure that nobody had a knife or gun or a bomb or anything that can harm the people on that flight. Did you think about them on your way to go have lunch with your dad? Did you think about the TSA agent that you passed at McCarran Airport on your way to the Fontainebleau Hotel to have lunch with your dad? And when you were sitting there having lunch with your dad, did you think about that agent who I'm sure he would love to have lunch with his dad, but he can't afford it because you're not funding Homeland Security, which means he hasn't gotten a paycheck in 45 days? Did you think about that as you're sitting there enjoying a wonderful lunch with your father and being able to spend time with him, which I think is awesome? Did you think about the TSA agent that would love to have lunch with his dad and he wasn't able to because, well, he hasn't gotten paid? Did you think about the fact that as you're enjoying your lunch, he's probably going hungry because he hasn't been paid in 45 days? You see, that's where reality sets in. It wasn't just about sitting down, having your dad. It wasn't just about the trip. It was about the people doing the work, the people's work, and not getting paid, and you're responsible for it. But you're going to have lunch with your dad. You're going to make sure you eat. You're going to make sure you didn't go hungry. How come you can't do the same for the people at DHS that you're not paying their salaries and you furloughed and they haven't gotten paid in 45 days? Did you think about that? Did you think about that while you were reaching for the bill and leaving a big tip, which I'm sure you did? You see, they call this a serious fight, but it's not, because serious people don't leave work undone. Serious people don't leave town when there's work to be done. Serious people don't get comfortable and have a nice time at Disney World or in Las Vegas when there's a crisis going on. This is a crisis. You've all said it. This is a crisis, and we're going to shut down the government over ICE and over DHS. CS agents feel it. I saw it. I stood there. How do you walk through that casino while this is happening? Because it's not a crisis to you. How can you go to Disney World and have a great time while a crisis is going on? What you're telling us is it's not really a crisis. It's just the way we do things in D.C. now. Because if the guy checking your luggage can't afford lunch, but the guy who didn't pay him is sitting down to eat, it's not about leadership. It's about rules for thee and rules for me. You want to comment? Please, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. All right.